Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Empowering Stories to Inspire Change, the video series where we feature stories of ordinary people with extraordinary stories. And today we are featuring the amazing Ruby Nguyen. Please introduce yourself to our audience. So great to have you.
Oh, hi, Nicoline. Hi, everyone. I'm Ruby Nguyen. I'm so excited to be here and to share my story with you.
Lovely.
Thank you, Nicola, for having me.
Yes, you're so welcome. And it's really a pleasure to have you. And well, I can't wait to really dive into your story. So could you take us to the moment where your story more or less started? So before your transformational moment.
So a little background story. I was born and brought up in Vietnam, a communist country where I would say obedience was deemed as a virtue at that time. So since a little child, I was never taught to dream. Instead, my parents chose a dream for me that they believed was best and had me live it. And that was a dream of becoming a university professor. So for the first 20 years of my life, I lived in what I called a no dreamland. And I was constantly fighting the idea that I wasn't enough and that I needed to become someone else. So after graduating from university, I was offered a lecturing job. So obviously my parents were very pleased, but I felt wrong. I just felt the whole thing was just so wrong inside. I knew I was meant for something different, something bigger, something more, but I just didn't know what it was. However, anyway.
How did you know? What did you feel?
It's just that feeling inside, the restless feeling inside that it's just telling me, no, not this, Ruby. You're meant for something different. So I didn't know why and how I got the courage to turn down the job offer without knowing what to do next. But I just did it anyway, because it's like I said, it's just a strong feeling inside telling me that you need to go. I don't know where, you just need to go to find out what you truly wanted for your life. So I took a leap of faith and went to South Korea with nothing other than a personal quest and a few broken Korean words, just enough to say my name. So that first trip abroad ended up becoming a 4-year stay. So I stayed there for 4 years and I started all over again. I did my degree in linguistics and then an MBA. I did all type of job, Nicola, from tutoring to corporate to interpreting for the government, you name it.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I got to experience the full spectrum of life. It was just an amazing experience being there. But still, I wasn't sure what I wanted for my life until what you would call a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
That was when I met my 5-year-old mentor and I had a conversation that changed everything. So let me tell you how I met my mentor. Yeah. So I remember it was a very hot day. It was a very hot summer day in Jakarta, Indonesia. I was there on a business trip with a Korean company that I worked for at the time. So I remember standing there under the baking hot sun, waiting for my taxi to come. When I heard a little voice, "Hello, ma'am." And I turned around, and standing in front of me was a tiny little girl, I would say about 4 or 5 years old, with frizzy hair, sweaty, dust-covered face, and tattered clothes, and barefooted. And I noticed a little basket full of tiny random stuff that she was carrying. And later on, I realized that that was her business. So she asked me if I wanted to buy some chewing gums. So I took $1 out of my purse and gave it to her, but I didn't take the chewing gums. She looked at me for about 2-3 seconds and then walked away. I was very intrigued. I followed her and asked why she hadn't taken my money. So she looked at me and said, "I'm not a beggar, ma'am." That's what she said.
Wow.
Oh. So I felt a lump in my throat.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "You're right. You're not a beggar. You're a business person. So I asked for my chewing gums now, and I gave her $5 and told her to keep the change. So she took the money, thanked me, and said goodbye. And Nicoline, you know what? That moment awakened my humanity.
Wow. Yeah.
What has she got inside that little girl that made she say what she said?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does she believe? Who told her about who she was and was not?
Yeah.
4 or 5 years old, I don't think that, she could learn that through experience or education or anything. I was so convinced at that moment that it must be something she was born with. It must be a hidden gem that she had inside that shined through her dark circumstance. So that little conversation with the girl, whom I considered my first business mentor ever.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it sparked a new perspective in me that every single one of us has a gift, has an inner gem waiting to be discovered. And the moment we discover it, we redefine ourselves. So I at that time I didn't know that that little conversation was a seed for something much bigger for my life years later. But I did make a promise to myself on that day that I would go through each day of my life looking to find the gem in everyone that I come in contact with.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And I do that. And the more I practice doing it, the more natural it has become. And so much so that I believe it is my gift to see the genius in others. Yeah, so that was the first life-changing moment for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh my God, such a little girl. And this wisdom of saying, I am not a beggar.
Who taught her that?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, especially when you look at, well, I don't know, Indonesia obviously is another country than Vietnam, but it's especially for girls. They are also, girls over there are taught, just follow through and just obey and do as you're told. But apparently she has something inside of her that's really powerful. That's
totally
great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So what happened afterwards?
Yes. So after that, I just pressed on, Nicoline, and pursued a life that seemed to be good on the surface. I got a corporate job, got married, live in a big city, go on holiday every 6 months. So, and I also started 2 businesses in my late 20s. Everything looked great, like I said, on the surface. But deep down, I felt very, very disconnected with myself. My heart wasn't in what I was doing. And, I always wanted to impact people's lives. I want to change the world, seriously. I do want to change the world. But my businesses, they were just same old. And I would wake up. I remember I would wake up in the middle of the night feeling so sad and uneasy because I felt like I was living someone else's life. And that feeling is just so difficult to describe, but it was just an immense sadness and almost like a massive void in my heart. So I made a scary decision. I closed down one business and I resigned from the other.
Wow.
I just couldn't take it any further.
But that's a very courageous thing to do.
I know. Crazy if you
throwing it all overboard.
Yeah. Because I knew to say that I knew what I wanted is not true, but I knew that wasn't what I wanted. I always love to encourage and inspire others. That's my gift. That's where I belong. I just know that. I'm so certain. But every time I took one step forward, my limiting beliefs pulled me 2 steps back. And those stories, the voice inside keep on popping in my head and saying, you're not enough. Who you think you can inspire while you're struggling yourself here?
Yeah, that's such a powerful thought, isn't it? And I see so many people struggling with this. I'm not enough. The things you tell yourself, for a long time, I believed they were true. They're not true.
No. You know what? Just a side note. I spoke with a very good friend of mine, and he shared fear. He created an acronym out of fear. He said, fear is actually false evidence appeared real.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, great. So let me, okay.
Yeah, go on, please.
Where was I?
Sorry.
Yeah. Where was I? Yeah. So there I was, no income, no business, no security, massive fear and doubt. I never thought I would end up being there. Trust me. But the only thing I was holding on to was a dream and a belief that I can make a difference with my gifts. But how? I didn't know. I seriously, I didn't know. I was stuck there for months. And to be honest, I don't like to admit this, but I was lost. I was totally lost. I was deep in what I call an identity crisis. You know what an identity crisis is? It's like when you've been doing something for so long, you associate yourself with that thing, and you think what you do is who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that thing is gone. My business are both gone. So what am I left with? What am I left with? My identity is now stripped. Who am I? And that was the most scary thing for me, not knowing who I am.
Oh, I can imagine. It's so, I think there's so many people out there who think they are their job or they are their business.
That's right.
And it's really what defines them. But it's not,
It's
you
not.
are a person with unique talents and gifts.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to disconnect yourself from a job. I mean, you are not the job.
You are not.
Yeah. But so I can imagine, but that must be hard. What did your life look like? I mean, you said I was lost. What did you do all day? How did you feel?
I was just busy doing all the things that they say I should to, how to find your life purpose, how to find your passion, how to create a business, from your passion, all of that. I did one course after the next. I was like chasing my own tail. Yeah, but that wasn't the worst. What was worse was that in the midst of fighting my internal battles, I found myself pregnant, and which was great. But just 7 weeks after, my baby died inside of me.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh. And when I saw my tiny baby on the ultrasound screen, still and silent, my heart broke. And the pain was just unbearable. So I remember vividly one morning, literally the morning after the loss of my baby, I was lying there in bed, weak, helpless, and empty. I caught myself having that terrible thought of giving it all up. And when you found yourself having that thought, it was just so scary. I was almost shaking. And I started to cry uncontrollably. And in that unimaginable darkness, strangely, the conversation with that little Indonesian girl flashed before my eyes. I don't know why, don't ask me why. Yeah, but that conversation just flashed before my eyes so vividly. And a message was given to me loud and clear right in that moment. That the message was like this. The reason why I always doubt and procrastinate following my calling is because I never knew who I really was.
Cool.
I let what I do and what society thinks about me define who I am, just like what you said. And because of that, I never felt enough. And of course, I will never feel enough. But the truth is, who I am is a unique, one-of-a-kind human being, is a magnificent being here to experience to learn and grow, to serve and contribute, to love and to have fun, and to shine my own light. And it's my birthright to be happy, to be successful and fulfilled, doing what I love in my own way. And that was the message given to me in that moment when I had that suicidal thought, when I had the thought of giving it all up. That message was given to me.
Wow.
It was just so powerful. It was so powerful, that moment when you feel that you are liberated from all the burden, from all, the heavy pressure that you had been carried for all your life. Now you're liberated. Now you're freed. So that was one of those moments for me. When I almost lost myself, I found my truest self. And it changed everything for me. It changed completely everything for me. And like people always say, when you decide to follow your heart, the universe show you the way, right? And at that tipping point in my life, a path revealed itself to me. And that's the path to empower women just like me to discover their true identity and share their stories with the world.
Oh my God, that's so powerful. That's amazing. I cannot begin to imagine what you must have felt like when you have a thought like that. It's really, that must have been really, really tough.
Yeah, but I'm so grateful. I'm forever grateful for what happened to me.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am.
Yeah, but I think it's so powerful that you share this story, because it's, you turned your pain into your power, right? And I think that's a huge inspiration for many people. And I think it's so important that you share this story, because adversity happens in life, right? And you cannot avoid it. But I think you are a great example of turning that adversity to your advantage and to a better life and a better version of yourself.
Thank you.
So, I think that's really powerful. So what does your life look like now?
I think I can describe my life now in 2 words, freedom and fulfillment. Because for me, true freedom comes from knowing who you are and being completely comfortable with it and embracing every bit of yourself. Yeah, that's freedom for me. And fulfillment is really what you have when who you are and what you do become one.
So what was your first step after that life-changing moment? After having that breakthrough?
Then I would just fueled by motivation. They said self-motivation is the best motivation. Now I got that. I just I just jump into taking action. So thing was just I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like I have huge supports from all the sources that I didn't know existed. People that I didn't know were just showing up and offer support for me. Call it universal support, call it the universe there for me, however you will. But I was just so convinced, I'm saying this now, I'm so convinced that the first step to achieving any dream, the widest dream you ever have, is to make that decision that I'm going to go after my heart. I'm going to go after my dreams. Everything starts with that decision. So that day, that morning, when I was lying on my bed after I was given that message, I made that decision for myself that today is going to be the first day, the first day that I will start living for my dream. And I made that decision, and it was a huge shift for me inside. And confidence, the thing that I always doubt and always fears, it just seemed like disappeared. I felt so confident about myself and about everything, and I just went for it. And things, like I said, miraculously, I don't know if I can use that word. It just miraculously, miraculously happened for me. Business opportunities seems to come from all over the place, and people want to partner up with me, and it's just incredible. I can just go on and on all about this, but everything starts with that decision. Everything starts with that decision.
Yeah, I can imagine. You know, really, truly deciding that you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's another thing hidden below your story, that it's all about the alignment. That finally you aligned with everything, and then all these things happen miraculously. Well, it's not a miracle, because it's just alignment with you and with who you are and what you really want to be doing. So I think that's an amazing lesson to share. So what other lessons would you like to share with our audience?
I think I would like to share 3 little lessons from my own story and journey, and I made it into an acronym. I love acronyms. Yeah,
me too.
Really great. So I call it the WIN formula, WIN. So the first one, W, stands for who. Okay, if you listen to my story, you know who you are is really the biggest theme in everything I do. So who you are is the most important asset you ever have, the truth of who you are. So own it. Start with who. Don't start with why. I know, you know, some people might get offended because there's a really amazing book out there by Simon Sinek, Start with Why. I'm not saying this to knock him down in any way. I love him. I read his book twice. But what I'm trying to say here is that before you're trying to discover why you do what you do, go one step further and deeper to discover the who behind all of this, and see how you can fit that into the bigger picture. It's not just why you do what you do, but it's also why is it you that can do this, and why is it only you that can do and should do this? What story can you bring to the world? What unique light can you shine? What is the special you essence that you can channel into everything you create?
Lovely.
What is that part of you that you can embed in everything you do? Exactly. What mark are you going to leave in this world? So start with who. Everything starts with a story about who you are. So that's the first lesson I've learned. And the second one is I, standing for inner gem or inner treasure. So from my personal story, I've come to discover that there is a part inside of each one of us that holds the key to everything we desire. That inner part knows all the answers, and it's where we can connect with the universe. It's where we connect to the infinite possibilities around us. So learn to go inward and reach within. Learn to lean in your inner knower and trust her voice. You're totally safe to follow your inner compass. And like I shared earlier, when I was in my darkest moment in my life after the loss of my baby, would you believe that I discovered immense peace in my inner shelter? And I discovered that I was loved more than I can ever love myself. There is that inner part of me that loves me and cares for me and always saying to me that I'm enough. But we never listen. We let the fear in our mind become louder than the voice in our heart saying that we're enough. But we never listen. We're too busy. We're too busy compare and compete. We're too busy looking outward for evidence to say that, oh, you're enough. And you never find it.
No, it's true. But your heart knows. And I think it's so important that you address this. Because there's so many people who are not listening at all. They're just up here. They're not here. So powerful to
and I like to say I like to say that don't ever let your circumstance dictate how you feel and how you view the world. You are the creator. So let your inner state of being and your ideas of how this world should be shape the world around you. You are a master creator. So use that power of yours to create whatever you desire.
Yeah, lovely.
Go out there. True. Yeah, go out there in the world. Love, give, share, create. That's who we are here to do. That's what I believe.
Yeah, me too. Tell us, what is the N?
Oh, the N stands for now.
I love that.
Yes. None of the things that we've been talking about in this interview would matter if we don't know how to tune into the power of the present moment. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It's all about the now.
Now is absolutely is always a perfect moment for everything you say you want. I know we can always find 1,001 reasons why now is not the right time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will do it when I get into my perfect shape. I'll do it when I finish this course. I'll do it when I get this certificate. Thousands of reasons. Yeah, but start now.
Yeah,
please start now. You're always in the right place and at the right time. You're always the perfect age, the perfect position for your dreams.
Yeah.
And actually, you're more than enough for your dreams right now.
I love that. I think this is really the perfect ending of this interview. I mean, start now. I think that's the most important message that you could give. And I mean, I think your story is such a great inspiration to really start doing it, to take action, to listen, and to go out there and do it. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
My pleasure.
We will be sharing your social links below this interview, and I'm sure there will be many people reaching out to you. So be ready for that.
Oh, great. I'm always ready.
Yeah, excellent. So thank you so much, and keep being awesome, and we'll stay in touch, definitely.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been my honor.
Thank you so much. Bye.